All right, hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good night, wherever you are at. So, I kind of want to talk about this whole entire Trump thing right now. Um, so, there's been a statement that Trump made recently saying that he's not a Christian. Let's go ahead and play that clip right quick.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time.
Go out and vote.
You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Piss on. Okay. So I'm playing that clip because I find that very interesting for a couple things. Trump, in the past, has definitely identified as a Christian. And for him to tell Christians to go ahead and vote, to go ahead and vote, that you won't have to do it again, and that he's not a Christian himself, it seems very disingenuous. I mean, if you even look at my thumbnail right there, you'll see that he's praying, right? But here's the thing about Donald Trump. When I go back and look at past interviews and quotes that he said, I came across this right here.
Believe in God. I am Christian. I'm a Protestant. I'm very proud of it. I have great relationship with God.
So you see there are multiple instances where he does say he has a great relationship with God, that he is a Christian. Now, I do know that you cannot, that you can believe in God and not consider yourself a Christian, but that's not what Trump has done. The man is almost 80 years old. It's pretty rare for somebody that old to change their viewpoints when it comes to their religion and faith if they really held it for their whole entire life. Now, when it comes to this whole entire situation, I will actually prefer somebody who is in office who is not religious at all in any way, shape, or form, who could just focus on the American people and what's best for them. I do not personally believe that any one particular faith should be the dominating force in America. I really would prefer for somebody who could focus on the facts and what's best for the American people. You can be empathetic and loving and caring and not being a Christian. You can be empathetic, loving, and caring and not being Muslim or Buddhist or whatever religion, faith practice that you believe in. That comes from an internal core, because let's be real here. Let's be perfectly honest. A lot of these Republicans, I'm just going to say Republicans right now because that's what Double Trump is running on, has a very strong, they love to preach about family values and faith and Christianity, when there's a lot of the times they can be some of the most corrupt in the closeted people ever. And that's just the hypocrisy of it. We tend to always go after what we were indoctrinated into. A lot of the people in America who are born and raised in America, who has roots in America, not like you're a first or second generation immigrant who has ties to America, has been here for over 400 years. A lot of the times has been indoctrinated into the religion of Christianity. And there's so many different forms and denominations of it. Baptists, Seven Indelicates, or whatever have you, Catholics, etc. But all still forms of Christianity. However, this because you have a faith of a Christian, quote unquote, does not mean that you are a true Christian. A lot of the time they use that as a veil to cover up what they're really doing behind closed doors. And yes, there's all kinds of stuff in the news about Christians in general that has done all kinds of horrible things to kids, their family members, adulteress, mistresses, paying for abortions. It goes on and on. But in this particular situation, to look back to Trump, if you truly are honest about how you view Trump and you look at his history and his past, can you honestly say that this man has conducted himself as a Christian in any way, shape, and form? I mean, I'm just being honest. It's on a real honest conversation. Look at Trump's history. Can you honestly say he conducted himself as a Christian? Yes, people are imperfect. Yes, people do make mistakes for sure. However, though, what makes a Christian, a person who has true faith, whenever you do make the mistake, you try really hard not to do it again. There's always those disingenuous people that will say they ask for forgiveness or they pray to God, and they still keep doing the exact same thing over and over again. Or they say they ask for forgiveness. You can't ask for forgiveness and continue to go down the path of doing the same things you did before. People like to use Christianity or their faith as a scapegoat and lead them to be unaccountable, and Trump has largely been unaccountable. So when I say this, when I ask that question, has Trump really conducted himself as a Christian? The answer is no. In no way, shape, or form has this man conducted himself as a Christian. So when he came out in that speech, when he said, I am not a Christian, I am not surprised in any way, shape, or form. And then, this kind of moves back into that whole entire conspiracy. It's not even a conspiracy anymore, about the whole entire Project 2025. And let's play this clip right here, right quick.
Let's see, you're the executive director for the America First Legal, correct?
That's correct.
All right. And America First Legal is a member of Project 2025, which is dedicated to creating the playbook for the next conservative administration and what it calls the Project Pillars, correct?
We are proud contributors to Project 2025.
Okay. And are you familiar with Project 2025's mandate for leadership?
In fact, I am.
Okay. And in fact, you wrote some of the sections of this mandate related to the DOJ, correct?
Sure did.
And the mandate outlines policy priorities for the next conservative president. Is that correct?
It does.
You've done a great job. I just want to let you know. All right, so let's walk through some of the provisions of the mandate. It calls for eliminating the Department of Education, eliminating the Department of Commerce, deploying the military for the use of domestic law enforcement against protesters under the Insurrection Act of 1807. It also has the repealing of Schedule F status for thousands of federal employees to allow a president to replace career civil servants with unqualified partisan loyalists. That's probably my favorite of it.
That's
it also prohibits the FBI from combating the spread of misinformation and disinformation, like Russia and China, who are actively trying to interfere with American elections. I don't know why or how anybody can support Project 2025. And I know that there was allegedly a joke about dictators and whether or not that's funny, but in the United States of America, dictatorships are never funny. And Project 2025 is giving the playbook for authoritarianism as well as the next dictator to come in.
The very interesting thing about that clip is that I have, when I was doing research about this video and topic of Trump in general, and I was just went into TikTok and Twitter, and I typed in Trump loyalists or Trump dictatorship. There are a lot of people who are for Trump being a dictator, and it's very interesting. There are people who are okay with Trump and what he has done, even though it goes against the whole entire Republican Party and their values. And that's why I always felt like that Trumpers are more of a cult compared to a Republican Party member. I never considered a pro-Trumper, a pro-Trump loyalist, a Republican, to be honest with you. I always considered them a cult member because of how blind they'll follow Trump. Let's go do a search for you. I'm not going to play other people's video clips like that on this, but I will say this. Just go to TikTok, go to X, and you'll see so many videos of people who will hear something that's horrific that Trump has done or said, and they'll say, oh, that person should be locked up, yada, yada, yada. They'll not even frame it as if Biden did it or Obama did it or something along those lines. And they'll say, oh, wait, I was mistaken, it was really Trump. And they'll get upset, or they'll say, well, they'll make an excuse for him really, really fast. So it's always one of those things that it's not exactly what you do, it's who's doing it. It's that old saying that, sexual harassment is only sexual harassment when it's coming from somebody ugly you don't want. And, there are also other clips out there where they say, you see Trump say that he's never been to a fist fight, but yet he's the pinnacle of masculinity. And well, to the Republican Party, he's a pinnacle of masculinity by photoshopping his head on Sylvester Stallone's body. Funny stuff like that. But one more thing I want to go ahead and play about Trump and how people just seem to believe in him for whatever reason. Let's see.
President Trump put in office for such a time as this? Did God put President Trump in office for such a time as this? I never asked you that question. What do you think?
Well, I don't know what they said.
They said yes.
Okay, because I have had Ben Carson said the same thing. Ben Carson came to me because he ran a very effective
Ben Carson
campaign.
has such a great story.
And he did a good job. He really did. He came in one of the top people. And he said to me, you're going to win. I said, Ben, I'm running against you. What are you telling me? He said, you're going to win because God put you here for this occasion.
You see what I mean? Using God for his benefit again. But
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine.
And that's the craziest part right there. You won't have to do it anymore. But here's the thing about a dictatorship. Trump is almost 80. He's going to die in 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years. He's not going to live forever. Whatever quote-unquote dictatorship Trump will have will be very short-lived. In fact, it's going to be over probably before he even leaves office. That means who's going to take his place? Because normally dictatorships or monarchies, they have a tight-knit people. So you're such a support of Trump, but you don't know who will take over after Trump when he's gone. Because Trump's not going to be here forever. He's an old man. Let's play this tune.
You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm not Christian.
And he's not Christian. I mean, he tells you who he is directly to your face over and over and over again. But yet, nobody really cares. And that's the thing that's crazy. It's like when Obama became president, President Obama got into office, and then he left. They wanted anybody to go behind, to follow, like black people follow Obama. But let's just call it for what it is. When Obama became elected, he was a very charismatic, strong, athletic man. People gravitated towards him. People didn't have to Photoshop pictures of his head on other people's bodies. People didn't have to make up stories. Obama did it by his actions. Now, I don't agree with everything he did in office, obviously, right? And realistically speaking, during his presidency, he has one of the most bloodiest presidencies in history. That's just what it is. However, though, when you look at what he did during the campaign trail, playing basketball, hanging out in the communities, relating to the people, those are things that people want to do with Trump. Trump is too old. He's a rich old man who plays golf. You don't do that with the community. You don't connect with people when you play golf. Golf is mainly for the elite, the rich, for the most part, right? I mean, most people who play golf normally make a pretty good salary. Compared to Obama, he'll just go out there and shoot basketball with whoever, right? I mean, that was one of the most common things out there. And you see him out there swimming at the beach, a healthy, younger man. Compared to Trump, who looks like somebody's grandfather who's trying to stay young. He's doing everything he can to hang on to his youth. And realistically speaking, if he wasn't running for president, he didn't become president of the United States, people will be clowning and making fun of Trump like they did before.
Love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to.
You won't have to vote again and won't have it fixed so quick. Now, this morning, I saw another video of Netanyahu in Trump's house. And they were talking about the election, and it sounded like foreign policy. And you had the, I guess it's called the Israeli flag in his house too, which I found very odd. I understand that You want to make people feel welcome into your home, but I'm pretty sure what Trump did in that particular situation was violating the Logan Act. This from what I read about it, and I was like, okay, so this man is blatantly breaking laws again, and nobody cares if I make excuses for him. Whenever Trump does something that's against the law or unethical, people always relate it to that. And I think that's why so many traditionally white people like Trump, because Trump reminds them of their grandfather, their daddy, and he's their age of them. Historically speaking, Trump, Biden are the two oldest presidents we ever had. Most presidents were 60 or under. And I would prefer a younger president so it can relate to the current state of the people. Trump relates to a very small minority of people who grew up in his era. Trump's era was more of the 60s through the 80s when he really became relevant as far as relating to the people compared to now. When you had Obama, he was closer to the age of the people that he could relate to, and that's how he spoke and people gathered behind him. When you notice Trump, people follow behind him because their parents did. It's a much different situation. And you know, I see videos of young people being indoctrinated and saying how much they love these values and all this other kind of stuff. But I was like, you haven't really lived life. What I want to start doing, some of the stuff I'm seeing, I want to start posting videos on here, so we can see what I'm talking about in these situations. Because right now it's kind of abstract what ifs, that stuff that I see off my memory that I'm not able to communicate to you all. But man, this is tough. This is tough seeing there's so much support, and truthfully, I don't really think it's really that much support. I think it's just so much of the media wants to be behind him instead of Ms. Harris. Granted, I'm not the biggest fan of Ms. Harris. I mean, truthfully, if I'm being really honest, this whole entire two-party system thing is garbage because the same thing is going to happen no matter what. It doesn't matter if Harris or Trump is in office. The exact same thing is going to happen. They're going to be involved in more wars and more people are going to lose their lives. And that's the part I care about. Because whenever they invest into these wars, that's less investment into our communities and people that actually need it. And that's what I have an issue with. That's the problem. And none of these people, not Trump, not Harris, are saying how we're going to get out of these wars and those billions of dollars that we are investing in other people's business. How they going to invest that money back into America. And that's what I want to see. But I feel like that's not something I'm going to see in my lifetime, unfortunately. If I do, I'll be really, really, really old. Because no matter what, we're going to have another 4 more years of BS. It doesn't matter if it's Harris or Trump. We're going to have 4 more years of BS. 4 more years of war. 4 more years of money being sent to countries that don't even like us or respect us. And you can tell that by how that Netanyahu guy comes to our country and disrespects our Senate. But yet, hey, it is what it is, right? The majority of senators there don't represent the people; they represent the businesses that invest into them. And unfortunately, people don't care enough to do enough research to try to vote the people out that's been in those positions for 20 plus years. There really should be a cap when it comes to these Senates and House of Representatives. They should have caps on their position. The President of the United States can have an 8-year cap. Why can't the other people? That's how we keep America great. That's how we keep things moving forward and progressive and make sure the American people are actually taken care of. Because when the American people are taken care of, America is doing so much better overall. Everybody's talking about the inflation, the taxes, and all this kind of stuff, but you know, it matches up when we start investing into these wars that has nothing to do with us. When you start sending aid to countries that has nothing to do with us. I mean, I would think, I'm sick of it, man. I love our country enough that I want us to be put first. I don't think that's wrong for me to want that or say that. Why are people so afraid to say, hey, put America first? Let's get out of Ukraine, let's get out of Israel, let's get out of Palestine, let's get out of all those places, Iraq, wherever we are at, that we do not belong. Let's get out of there, save our money, and invest in our own communities. Because that money can still be invested into the military, invest that into the people. I love America. Let's get all the other countries invest back. And Harris and Trump, neither one of them can do that. Harris wants to make Christian. I get that. Trump wants to make a dynasty. And I get paid. And what he says right here, that little clip right there, lines so perfectly with Project 2025.